Catastrophic engine failure at BEC's Blue Hills plant causes an island-wide power outage. A 21-year-old man charged with the death of a baby boy. Dozens of disgruntled union members marched down Bay Street, plus police demolish homes believed to be criminal hangouts. We've got those stories and a whole lot more tonight. I'm 22 and NB12 starts now. Topping news tonight, a total system shutdown at the Bahamas Electricity Corporation's Blue Hills and Clifton Pier power stations resulted in an island-wide power outage in New Providence this afternoon. The major blackout shut off traffic lights throughout New Providence, creating a traffic nightmare for motorists. BEC officials say one of the engine cables at the Blue Hills power station caught fire shortly after 2 p.m. The fire reportedly spread to several other cables and caused a total system shutdown, impacting generator units at both the Blue Hills and Clifton power stations. With the assistance of firefighters, BEC crews were able to extinguish the fire by 4 p.m. Officials say an assessment is underway at the Blue Hill station to determine the extent of damage. By 5 p.m. today, 2 engines were back online, one at Blue Hills and one at Clifton. However, officials say it is unclear when total system restoration will take place. BEC encouraged major commercial customers to use generators in the meantime. The attorney of a 21-year-old man charged with the murder of a baby boy told the court today that police and defense force officers threatened her client, telling him he would be raped, beaten, and even killed in Her Majesty's prison. She also alleged that her client has been beaten more than once while in custody and is mentally ill. Sporting a blood-stained shirt and a black eye, 21-year-old Samuel Mackey was charged in the magistrate's court today with the murder of 1-year-old Patrick McKenzie. Police say the baby boy was already dead when he was taken to Princess Margaret Hospital shortly before 9 p.m. on Friday, March 6. It's unclear how the child died, but authorities said at the time the baby's mother and stepfather were taken into police custody. In court today, Mackey's attorney Krista Smith alleged that her client was beaten more than once while in custody and asked Magistrate Andrew Forbes to take note of his black left eye and the blood on the front of his wrinkled blue shirt. Smith said she is deeply concerned about Mackey's well-being, asserting that police and defense force officers told him he would be raped, beaten, and even killed in Her Majesty's prisons. Smith also told Magistrate Forbes that her client is not well mentally and pointed to the extent of the allegations made against him. Pointing to Section 28 of the Mental Health Act, Smith said Mackey needs some form of treatment and asked that the Croton Street resident be sent for observation. She said his family has been very supportive of him since his arrest. Mackey's attorney says she was also quite troubled that her client has been in custody since March 6 and is just being charged today. She says he should have been properly before the courts by Thursday, the latest, and asserted that up to 10 o'clock Wednesday night, no one would confirm if he had been charged by police. The magistrate made note of Mackey's appearance and death threat allegations. He said he would recommend that the necessary security protocol be followed and that Mackey be evaluated in prison. Forbes informed the Croton Street resident that he is not required to enter a plea and bail is denied. He added that the matter would likely be referred to the Supreme Court by way of voluntary bill of indictment. Mackey will return to court on Tuesday. In other news, dozens of law enforcement officers brought traffic along Bay Street to a crawl this morning as they marched over what the organizations called outstanding issues regarding salaries, promotions, insurance, and disrespect from the government. The Police Staff Association and Prison Officers Association were joined by members of the Democratic National Alliance and Bahamas National Citizens Coalition. Simone Davis reports.
Members of the security forces, unemployed Bahamians, and many supporters gathered this morning for the Walk of Hope in order to send a message to Bahamians that now is the time to stand up for a better future. After blocking up traffic on Bay Street for nearly an hour, frustrated union members marched from Southern Recreational Grounds to the PSA's headquarters on East Bay Street in an attempt to grab the attention of Bahamians and the government. Union leaders urged government to address a number of issues, including unfair treatment of workers and a lack of promotions despite the recent implementation of value-added tax. BNCC's executive chairman, Reverend Andrew Stewart, said he believes the path that the government is taking the country on is not working. He said VAT and national health insurance are not the answers.
Taxes is not the solution. It creates more bad than good. The government's plan of putting taxes on the people is a cruel joke. It is a serious indictment of mismanagement and lack of vision. These are the brave and daring. These men and women who put their lives on the line every day at the risk of denying their children and their spouses their presence. They expose themselves to danger, risk, injury, death, and disease on our behalf.
PSA Executive Chairman Inspector Dwight Smith called on the government to meet with law enforcement representatives to discuss their concerns. He claims this request has been ignored for more than 4 years by this government and the former administration. As for claims of disrespect, Smith said at 9:30 a.m., Assistant Commissioner of Police Leon Bethel asked the officers who plan to march to attend a mandatory meeting. He said he feels this was an attempt to intimidate the officers and hinder the efforts of the PSA and BPOA.
We were very insulted to find out that at 9:15 we're going to be summoned for a meeting for 9:30. That is not how you treat your people. That is not how you treat men and women. That was an insult to us, knowing that we had an event for 10, but 9:15 we're going to be intimidated. Intimidated. And it was so shocking, it was really shocking.
Our news team contacted ACP Bethel for a response. He said no one has the right to ask him about internal affairs of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, including the media. Smith said he wants the public to understand that law enforcement officers are going through the same struggles as everyday Bahamians.
I think one of the messages that we really want to send out there is that united that we can do and accomplish a lot of things. It's also to bring awareness. It's also to sensitize the Bahamian populace that security forces go through the same issues that they go through.
DNA leader Branville McCartney also supported the unions this morning and urged Bahamians to stand up for themselves against what is happening in the country.
We must stand up, people, if we want to save our country. The DNA is standing up with the armed forces today.
Yes, we are.
The DNA is standing up for the Bahamian people today. We will continue to stand. We have a lot to lose too. We have a lot to lose, especially with this type of government we have. But we are standing up because we are doing what is right. We are doing what is right because we want to see what is right.
He added that crime is the main issue in the country, asserting law enforcement officers must be treated fairly and with respect. Reporting for NB12, I'm Simone Davis.
Several abandoned homes were demolished and nearly 10 derelict vehicles were towed this morning as officers attached to Urban Renewal conducted a cleanup exercise in the Fort Fincastle area. Jasmine Brown tells us more.
Piles of debris are all that remain of a home that was torn down this morning by Urban Renewal officials, and residents in the area say it's something that needed to be done. Residents in the area woke up to this: buildings that have been an eyesore and a concern for years being torn down. 7 men and heavy-duty equipment that included a crane and 3 tractors tore down the old buildings. Assistant Commissioner of Police Stephen Dean says it's a part of the program's cleanup campaign in which they target abandoned buildings where suspected criminal activities take place. Dean says the decision to demolish came after an assessment of the area and meetings with area residents.
We decided to do an assessment in this particular area after concerns from residents of persons hanging out in abandoned buildings, 1 or 2 incidents in these abandoned buildings, derelict vehicles where guns and drugs. Our officers have recovered firearms and drugs in these vehicles. So we decided to not to talk, but come here with action.
Overseeing the work today was Keno Simmons of Bill Simmons Construction, a company that has previously done similar work with urban renewal.
We have partnered with the police and cleaning up. Like Superintendent Dan said, it's a good way to get rid of crime and safe havens where criminals could come together. We've done this in the past, and we continue to support the police anytime they call on our company.
Residents in the area just off Prison Street say they were happy to see the eyesores taken down and insisted they now felt safer in their own communities.
Oh, I'm extremely excited about it because with the trucks are moving the cars down there, I personally adopted the Chrissy left phrase that each before is doorstep swept. And I try my best to keep in the front of my area clean, and I personally use my funds to have the stuff, the tractors, rake up the stuff, but I didn't have the ability to get the big trucks. So I'm extremely excited about what's going on here today.
I think it's a good initiative. This old house has been there for some time. It has had certain personalities in it, and it is good that they're taking it down now. It will be very good for the community.
The urban renewal program was relaunched shortly after the PLP government was voted back into office in 2012. Renamed Urban Renewal 2.0, a major part of the program was the demolition of abandoned buildings. There has been criticisms of the practice, but officials continue to say the demolition process is important for the development of the community. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Free National Movement Chairman Michael Pintard says he believes it was reckless of Prime Minister Perry Christie to suggest that political supporters in the country could be moved to violent acts. Christie suggested in the House of Assembly on Wednesday that he received threats and has increased personal police security as a result. Pintard said the FNM condemns any kind of threat or statement of intimidation toward leaders in the country.
Certainly sympathetic with the Prime Minister to the extent that he has been victimized by such threats. However, the Prime Minister went on to suggest that the threats, which he has not verified for the nation, may have resulted from utterances in the House of Assembly. And unfortunately, when a member of the government makes such statements, quite logically, persons are likely to look at the opposition.
Pintard added that if anyone should be concerned about threats, it should be the opposition, adding the Prime Minister should be careful when he casts aspersions on his colleagues.
We would go as far as to say that if anyone should be concerned about being victimized by supporters of any political organization, would certainly be members of the Free National Movement. In the last general election, the Progressive Liberal Party employed a large number of persons who are known to the authorities to be engaged in criminal activities.
On Monday, police said a bomb threat was made at Carmichael Primary School moments before Christie and Governor General Dame Marguerite Pinling arrived at the school for a renaming event. Last July, then FNM Chairman Darren Cash revealed that FNM leader Dr. Hubert Minnis, then FNM Deputy Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands, former FNM MP Brenzel Roll, North Eleuthera MP Theo Neely, and then Deputy Leader Loretta Butler Turner all received death threats.